guys, it's Trina and I've got some great book recommendations for you in this video. This is part of the monthly recommendations Goodreads group that was started by Kayla Rain and myself. The group has only been around for 2 months, so if you haven't heard of it yet, I'm going to link down below to the video that I did announcing the group and explaining what it's all about. I will also put a link below to Kayla's channel and directly to the Goodreads group in case it sounds like something you might be interested in. September's topic is books that are set in school since it is back to school time. I had to narrow it down for myself and I want to focus only on books that are set in college. I love books that are set in college. I think it's a great time of life. The first one I have to mention is very popular. You've probably heard of it. You probably have already read it, and that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I have to mention this book. This is a YA contemporary standalone, and it is about our main character, Kath, who is really struggling with the transition into college. There's a writing class that Kath is kind of struggling in because she just wants to write fan fiction for her favorite book series. There are so many great themes in this book that I feel like a lot of people will connect to, and it really got the college experience right. And if you have been putting it off because it is so overhyped and you're kind of afraid that it won't live up to that, but you like college stories, I would definitely recommend checking it out and just giving it a try. Next, I want to recommend the Testing Trilogy by Joelle Charbonneau. This is a YA dystopian trilogy and it is set in college. The testing is basically the process to get into the university, and our main character has to undergo this brutal test. If you don't pass your test, you could possibly die. There are a lot of puzzles to figure out, and then there is this kind of like arena area where it's just basically a combat because there are only so many spots to get into this university. I would definitely recommend this series if you liked the Hunger Games. It is a very different type of world, but it is pretty reminiscent of the Hunger Games, and I, however, loved that because I just wanted more Hunger Games at that point in time. So if you like the Hunger Games, there's a high chance that you will also like this one too, and those similarities, they do go away in book 2. Next, I want to recommend Vicious by B.E. Schwab. This is an adult sci-fi standalone about 2 kids that knew each other from college, and they were working on a college assignment where they were trying to study how to possibly give themselves superpowers. So half of the narrative is set in the past, and it's during their time as college students, as roommates, trying to work on this study, and then the other half of the narrative is set in the present, which is 10 years later, when they actually do have these powers and now they're enemies, and you're trying to figure out like what happened between them between then and now, and how's it all gonna go down. This definitely would have appeal to audiences that are adult readers and young adult readers because of that varying timeline, so good crossover appeal. I read this several months ago and it's really just stuck with me the entire time, especially just the characters, because they aren't exactly superheroes. They have powers, but they're leaning a bit more towards the villain side, and so you've got this question of who should I root for, and I just love this book, absolutely. Another adult book that I want to recommend is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. Landline is about an adult who is a workaholic. She is just totally married to her job, which is causing her actual marriage to kind of suffer. She and her husband are growing very distant. She ends up staying with her mom in her old childhood bedroom, and one night she tries to call her husband from her old phone in that old room, and the phone magically connects her to her husband in the past. So she is living in the present of this crumbling marriage and all these things that have gone wrong while she is talking to her husband from the past from when they first met. A large part of the narrative is flashbacks from when they met in college, and I did think that it captured that college feeling really well. I thought it was a great take on seeing how a relationship can grow from college age to adulthood with all these crazy adult and work problems, and I loved having both of those times of life represented. Again, it's another one of those that could be a good transition between YA and adult and have a crossover appeal. The next book that I want to recommend is Easy by Tamara Weber, and this is a new adult book, and I actually have not read very many new adult books. I know that a ton of new adult will have college settings because it's kind of around that age, like early 20s, but I haven't really branched out into that genre yet. But one that I have read is Easy. It is about a college freshman who finds herself the victim of sexual assault one night, and then she ends up forming a romantic relationship with this guy that saved her from that situation. And the rest of the plot is just set on a college campus with some like self-defense classes, and then there's a class where she's got to meet a tutor, and I just really liked the college setting of this book. The book does have a great message about sexual assault and what to do, how to defend yourself, how to speak up, what consent means, and what a good relationship of consent looks like. The main male character in the book is a really great guy character. I did really like him. It's not my favorite book, I have to be honest with you. I gave it 3 stars, but I really think that other people will like it more than I would, and I know that it has a lot of fans. It's pretty widely known, but I don't think it's like overly popular. And lastly, I want to recommend 2 series that do start off in high school, but they grow with the character as they go into college. The first of those is the Jessica Darling series by Megan McCafferty. There are 5 books in this series, and the first 2 are in high school, and it's the main character Jessica's diary entries. So she just talks about like the ups and downs of school life, a lot of boy drama, a lot of friend drama, and in book 3, Charmed Thirds, she goes to college. I have not read this yet. I've only read the 2 where she's still in high school, but I have friends that have read it and they say that she does go to college in this one. I do feel kind of weird to recommend a series that I haven't completely finished, but I've really enjoyed the first 2 books in this series and I would recommend those, and I have high hopes for seeing where it goes into her college journey. And the last series I want to recommend is called the ASPEN Brooks Trilogy by Stephanie Hale. The first book is called Revenge of the Homecoming Queen, book 2 is called Twisted Sisters, and book 3 is called Spring Breakup. Book 1 is set in high school and this is a YA mystery series. Our main character is like the queen bee, homecoming queen girl, and some mysterious happenings are going on at school and she's trying to basically sleuth it out and figure out what was happening. And then book 2, she does go to college and she joins a sorority, and I really felt like the campus atmosphere was so reminiscent of like my college. I felt like it basically took place at the college I went to. I read this for a book club a few years ago and none of us liked the first book. It kind of read a bit juvenile, but book 2 was like so much better, so different. It felt like written by a totally different author, like maybe she'd gotten a different publishing company at that point, different editor or something. It just was so much better, and I really did enjoy books 2 and 3 of that series. It's not something that I've ever heard mentioned on BookTube, so even though it wasn't one of my favorites, I wanted to recommend it and mention it so that if you haven't heard of it before and it does sound like something that you would be interested in, that maybe you could discover a new book and check it out. Those are all of my recommendations for books that are set in college. If you've read any of these, please let me know down below so we can chat about them, and I want to know if you guys have any recommendations for me of books that are set in college. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the comments. Bye!